Hey there, friends. Interesting couple of days that I've had here recently, and more specifically yesterday. As you guys may or may not know, I put out a video a couple of weeks ago regarding the gun violence archive because all of your CNNs, MSNBCs, including the White House even, reference the gun violence archive whenever they're trying to stoke fear as far as showing, hey, look how bad the numbers are regarding gun violence. So they cite the numbers from this website to get people's attention. And it works. It absolutely does. It got my attention. I wanted to see what it was all about. 2 weeks ago, I put a video out on their, quote, mass shooters, and found that out of all of their mass shooters out there, that only one of them was a true rampage shooting. I believe 4 of them were domestic, and all the rest, like a lot, were confrontational type shootings or gang-related shootings. So I put that video out, and I said that I was also going to do one on their school shootings. Now, they break down lots of other different types of shootings on their website, not just, quote, mass shootings and school shootings. But those are the two that I wanted to focus on. So a couple days ago, I put my video out debunking the school shootings. Now, to be fair, I went to their website. This is how I acquired these numbers. So I go to their website, and it's just a matter of punching in gunviolencearchive.org. While I'm on their website, if you'll notice, you simply go click on where it says reports on the main page when you go to gunviolencearchive.org. Once you click on reports, it brings up a complete list of different types of reports. Notice at the bottom left-hand corner. Now this screenshot here was taken yesterday. It says school shootings. It doesn't say anything else regarding schools. It doesn't say school incidents. It doesn't say school things that might have happened. It doesn't say school threats. It says specifically 2 words, school shootings. So I clicked on that. Notice the big title in orange writing, school shootings. And then I go through each one of these, and that's where I found that out of all of the 77 listed school shootings for the month of January, last month, only 1 was an actual school shooting. 54, I believe, were actually guns at school where there was no shots fired or anything like that. Essentially, 1 school shooting, 54 guns at school, and some miscellaneous stuff, including people at universities that were arguing at a parking lot that was near the college campus. You know what I mean? Things like that, not school shootings. Well, apparently a lot of you weren't having it, and you reached out to the Gun Violence Archive. Many of you sent me what your responses were from the Gun Violence Archive, and I was actually surprised that they did, in fact, respond to you guys, because clearly you were pro-gun and pro-Second Amendment. In the meantime, I had used the online form also to reach out to Gun Violence Archive, asking them if they would be willing to talk to me to explain their numbers. I wanted to know why their numbers were misleading, because clearly when you say something is a school shooting, we don't think it is anything other than somebody being shot at a school, right? The phrase school shootings implies that somebody at school got shot, not that somebody had a gun in a backpack and no trigger was ever pulled. Well, as luck would have it, and I certainly commend him for doing this, Mark Bryant, who is the founder and the director, executive director for Gun Violence Archive, reached out to me via that form where I was saying, hey, can we do an interview? I want to talk about these numbers, why they are not consistent and why they're not adding up. He and I had a really good conversation on the phone yesterday, a really good one. Now, have no fear. I'm not drawn to the dark side. I can have a reasonable conversation with just about anybody as long as they remain reasonable. And I don't necessarily mean the things that they say. I mean how they carry themselves during the course of the conversation. So we had a very polite and professional conversation with probably about a 50% disagreement between the philosophies of what Mark looks at and what we look at. And I do think I speak for a lot in the Second Amendment community, because I think many of us who are watching this video and myself think the same way. Mark explained to me, and I have to give him kudos for this. I'm still not clear why it stayed listed as school shootings for so long, but I will say this. Look at this screenshot. As of this morning, if you go to that same reports tab that I mentioned, look down the bottom left-hand corner. It does not say school shootings anymore. Now it says school incidents. You click on it. Notice the title at the top center no longer says school shootings. Now it says school incidents. Mark has agreed to come on here and he and I have a conversation, a video conversation that's recorded for you guys to see. That was going to take place today. Mark has a meeting that has been running long for him right now, and he's not able to make it. I think he's going to be out of pocket next week as well. So tomorrow is our next opportunity for us to potentially have this interview to discuss these numbers. And I explained to him I wanted to talk about the same things that I'm telling you guys about right now. And I wanted to hear his methodology. I wanted to hear his philosophy on how this thing comes to be, all that kind of stuff. And I want to tell him the problems that we have with it, that I personally have with it. But again, he's tied up right now, so we're going to reschedule. And he did send me the email explaining why, and said, can we please reschedule? So again, kudos to him, how he's handled this all the way. He knows that I don't agree with him. I know he doesn't agree with me. But again, we can still have the conversation and agree that we are not going to agree on a lot of things, but still do it cordially and professionally. So I'm looking forward to that conversation. The reason why I'm looking forward to it, I got to give kudos to Mark. While Mark does consider himself kind of bipartisan, like, you know, he has guns, he considers himself pro-gun, and he clearly has leanings to that other side, if you know what I mean, the anti-gun group. But he considers himself in the middle. I don't consider him in the middle. Some of the things that he said, and again, Mark may be watching this video, so I want him to know this is not a personal attack. I think that he has a different view of himself than probably what most other people do. Maybe he thinks the same of me, but I don't pretend to be in the middle. I know that I'm on the right. I know that I'm on the far right. I'm sure there's an extremist tag that you can put on me as well. However, I think that Mark and I really are. He's not as far left as some of these anti-gun people out there, but nevertheless, there are things that he probably believes in, and we had some private conversation that I'm not going to share here, out of respect to him, that lead me to believe that he's not as center of the road as he may think that he is. So I think that's important that we welcome him on here, because he would literally be the first person who would be willing to talk to me like that. Now, I've had plenty of politicians who were anti-gun or didn't believe as strongly in the Second Amendment as I do come on here and talk. So I'm not saying that I've never had anybody that didn't agree with me. But Mark probably, I would be willing to bet that his far-left friends probably wouldn't be happy with him coming on here. And hey, who knows? Maybe that's why Mark's postponing today. Maybe he's not going to come on here. But I do think he's a man of his word. I do think he will come on here. I know that he's a very busy man, so it would not shock me that he just got bound up today and was not able to make it. So I look forward to that, and I hope you guys will look forward too. I do say this, that when I do have Mark on here, I hope you guys will be respectful. He did say that there were some people sent him emails, and he said some of my viewers were a-holes, the types of emails that he sent. I can see that, but at the same time, nobody likes to be lied to. And the fact that this database was mislabeled, whether it was on purpose or accidentally, it sure came across as a lie. And the fact that it took me putting a little old YouTube video out to get it changed tells me that there's a lot of people that probably know this database is inaccurate. I'm not any kind of a genius. Somebody else has to have seen this before and just never said anything about it. I'm talking about people who are happy with the high numbers. I'm talking about the media and the White House. I know I'm not the first person to go through each individual incident and realize these were not school shootings. Yeah, so they school incidents? Yeah, of course they are. They happen at school. It's an incident. I'm okay with the title now. But there's no way I'm the first person that saw that school shootings did not apply to probably 90-something% of what was listed in this database. So I think there are people who noticed the error or noticed the mislabeling of this and just never said anything about it, because the numbers helped to fulfill the message they were trying to send and the agenda that they were trying to drive. So hopefully we can start to clear some of these things up. This is not going to fix anything as far as people's perception in any kind of way. But what it does do at this point, it limits the anti-gun wackos on the far left from having one more tool that they can cite, because people think just because the White House cites this that somehow or another that it's gospel, and it's clearly not. So this is one less report that they're not going to be able to go out and now cite and say we had all these school shootings. I'm hoping we can maybe, and I don't think this is going to happen, but maybe have a little bit more conversation about what they classify as mass shootings, because Mark and I talked at length about that yesterday, and that's also a very interesting topic, and that's probably going to end up being the main source of our conversation whenever he does come on here. So again, guys, I think this is a good thing. At least it's somebody admitting that there was an error. Whether or not it was, I'm not going to say. However, it has been changed, and it definitely looks different today. And it's not misleading anymore.
God save the Queen, man.
I'm sorry, I thought this was America. He's so horrible.